Hello and welcome back to Cooking for Two 101. I'm Christy, that's John. Today we're making meatballs, not just any meatballs. Turkey, cranberry, jalapeno meatballs. That's right. It sounds crazy, but believe me, when you try these, you're gonna go, where have these been my entire life? And I'm not joking, because that's exactly what we did. So shout out to my friend Kim. Thanks for bringing those to the Christmas party. Good job on you. Let's get started. I have a pound of ground turkey in the bowl here. I kept it in the fridge until you keep it there until you're ready to go, because it gets kind of squishy if it gets warm, so you don't want that. We're only going to put spices in here, no chopped up onions or any of that textural stuff, because we want these meatballs to just be meatballs. All the texture is going to go in the sauce. So let's get started. We have a tablespoon of dry mustard, a tablespoon of onion powder, and a tablespoon of garlic powder, and about a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I'm going to stick all that in there, along with a healthy pinch of salt and pepper. We're going to mix all this up, and then we're going to add our breadcrumb and milk paste, I guess you could say. So that's, you sort of need to add some moisture to this because this meat is very dry. It doesn't have a lot of fat in it. So I have here a half a cup of Italian breadcrumbs, and I have a half a cup of milk, and I'm just going to start pouring the milk into the breadcrumbs until it becomes a paste. You sort of need to take your time with this because the breadcrumbs absorb the milk and it sort of disappears, but you don't want it to be runny. You just want it to be a thick paste. Ooh, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Oh, it's getting a little thick. Add a little bit more. Oh, there we go. All right, we're gonna let this sit for about 3 minutes just to make sure it absorbs all the milk that we put in. While that's happening, we're just gonna use our hands. You could use a fork or whatever, but I'm just gonna put my hands in there and mix all these spices into the meat. You don't want to over mix this, so just like get them in there and get your hands out. That's the way you want to roll here. There we go. We're also going to add 1 egg. The egg is going to act with the breadcrumbs to be the binder. All right, this needs a few more seconds. We'll be back when it's ready to go so I can show you what it looks like. All right, so our breadcrumbs are fully moist. Look at that. It's a nice thick paste. This is what's going to make our meatballs hold their shape and give them some texture. Excuse me, because we're using turkey. All right, we got the egg, we got the breadcrumbs, and we got the turkey. Let's get it all in there and get it together. It's going to take a couple minutes. Just do it gently. You don't want to, overwork it. Just everything combined. It's going to take maybe a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, it's all mixed together. It's not very pretty, so don't get too excited if it's not very pretty. I have a little melon baller. You can use a spoon or an ice cream scoop or whatever, but I'm going to spray this a little with some vegetable oil because it kind of sticks. I'd like to keep these kind of small. You can make them as big as you want to, but they just take longer to cook, and it's turkey and you don't want to overcook it. You don't want to undercook it for sure, but you certainly don't want to overcook it. I'm going to scoop all of these out and then I'm going to roll them. It just goes a little bit faster that way. So when we're done scooping, we'll come back and I'll show you how to roll them. Okay, so I'm almost finished here. I just wanted to give you a little trick. If the meatball is sticking to your hands, you just use a little bit of water and it just rolls up quite nicely. What you want to try to do is get them all the same size so they cook at the same rate. Next, what we're going to do is put them in the refrigerator for about 10 or 15 minutes. We want them to get a little bit firm, so when we cook them, they hopefully retain their round meatball shape. These are ideal for cocktail parties, just a little one-bite wonder, so we want them to look pretty. All right, put them in the fridge, be right back. Okay, so the meatballs are nice and chilled. I have my pan heating, it's nice and warm. I'm just gonna add maybe a tablespoon and a half of vegetable oil or any oil that you want to use. We're not going to cook these super hot. But turkey doesn't have a lot of fat in it, so you're going to need some sort of lubricant for the pan. Spread it around a little bit. And now we're just going to sear them. It is going to take a minute, and it's just part of the thing. You just got to do what you got to do. After this, we get to do the fun part, which is make the sauce, which is what is really the spectacular part about these meatballs. Cranberry jalapeno sauce. It's delicious. We're going to sear these for, I'm going to go with 3 minutes on the first side, 3 minutes on the second side, and then maybe if you can do the edges, that would be great. We will finish cooking them in the sauce once it's made, but that seared part is going to give it the texture that we're looking for. All right, I'll show you what it looks like when I turn them, but you don't need to see me do this anymore. So we'll be right back. So you want to cook these on medium, maybe medium high, but if you see any smoke, you need to turn it down. We don't want these to burn. Ooh, that's getting nice and brown in the middle. Look how soggy they're getting. I'm so glad we put these in the refrigerator, so at least they're at least retaining a little bit of their shape. All right, that's about good. We want them to be about that color on both sides before we take them out and make the sauce. So I have a whole nother batch to do. Yikes, man overboard. Okay, we'll be back when we're done with that and we can move on with the sauce. Okay, they are finally seared on 2 sides. And look, there's hardly any grease left. That's what turkey does. But in return, you have very fragile meatballs to work with. So be very, very gentle. Right now, what we're going to do is make the sauce. I'm going to add a little bit more vegetable oil. I'm going to turn it down to medium. It's on medium high right now. And I'm going to saute first the white parts of scallions. This adds so much flavor to the sauce. Don't skip this part. This is one of those things where if you don't have this, go get it. Otherwise, make it next time you have this, because really, it's a game changer. It's so delicious. I learned this from a video about how to cook Korean food, bulgogi. It just makes the oil taste amazing. We're also going to add 2 jalapenos that I have diced up. There's a few seeds in there, but not a lot, and there's no ribs. I'm not going to say that this makes it super spicy, but we did try it with 1 jalapeno and it wasn't enough. So we've done this several times, and for us, 2 jalapenos is perfect. I'm starting to get a little smoke here, so I'm going to turn it down a little, 1 more notch. So now we're probably on medium-low. And we're going to saute these just until the white parts of the onions start to look translucent. I can totally smell all of that onion and pepper. Oh, I'm so excited for you to try this. When you eat this, you're going to go, where has this been my whole life? All right, now I'm going to add a diced white onion. And actually, it's just a half a diced onion because we added all those scallions. So you don't need any extra onions. Just a half one is fine. It wasn't even a very big onion. We're going to cook this down until the white onions are translucent now, which takes quite a bit longer. We started the jalapenos first because they actually need to break down quite a bit. So the reason we're doing all of this part in the sauce is because the texture of the turkey meatballs, it's so tender. We tried it putting this portion in here and they just crumbled and fell apart and they weren't meatballs anymore. So by putting all of this yummy chopped up deliciousness in the sauce, you still get that part, but your meatballs still stay in the shape of a meatball, which is, you know, the whole point of the show, right? All right, we're going to cook this down. We're going to come back. We're going to add all of this other beautiful stuff and finish the sauce because it really is amazing. We'll be right back. Okay, our onions are translucent. We're going to add a tablespoon of minced garlic. And we always want to wait to do this at the end. This does not need any time to cook, really. We just want to heat it. It burns, it gets bitter really fast. So keep stirring that around. And as soon as you can smell it, we are going to add the rest of the good stuff, which starts with 1 can of whole berry cranberry sauce. If you happen to have homemade cranberry sauce on hand, by all means, use that. Oh, goodness. But this works just as good. Actually, I haven't tried it with homemade, but I'm sure it's fine. Okay, yum. Got that in there. This is going to start to melt, and it's going to be the base of our sauce. Along with that, we are going to add a cup of ketchup. Sorry, that's so ugly. It was upside down because I'm getting low. There we go. A tablespoon of soy. And a few dashes of Worcestershire. Stir this all together. We made this a couple times now, and the first time we put some yellow mustard in it. I'm going to tell you, don't put mustard in this sauce. The vinegar and from the sauce and the turkey, they're not friends. It just wasn't right. We didn't like it at all. We even tried it with ground beef, and it didn't work. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So trust me, don't put any mustard in this. Okay, this is going to take a few minutes to combine and start to simmer. Then we are going to add a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of brown sugar. We're going to give it a few minutes and we're going to try it, because sometimes ketchup is super sweet and sometimes it isn't. Okay, we'll be back in probably 2.5, 3 minutes when this is ready to move on. Okay, all of the saucy stuff that we've put in there is combined. It's mixed together, but it is a little thick. So I'm going to use some cranberry juice to thin it out a bit, because we still need to cook the rest of our meatballs in here. And it is going to reduce and simmer and get even thicker. So we don't want it to burn. So adding some cranberry juice. I just added about maybe 1/4 cup. I'm also going to add half of this 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm going to add this one to start, and then we'll taste it later and see if it needs more. Okay, and now I'm going to put the meatballs back in, and we're going to let it simmer on about medium for 6 minutes. And I'm going to spoon the sauce over the meatballs. You do not want to stir these meatballs around in this sauce. They're fragile. You got to be very gentle with them. Otherwise, it will turn into ground turkey stew, which isn't any fun at all. So once you get them all nestled in here, you're just going to take a spoon and cover the top like this. You do not want to stir them. Can't be more, what's the word? Just don't do it, please. Okay, I'm going to do the rest. We'll be back when it's nestled in and we're good to go. Okay, they're done. I took them out of the pan. We checked it out. They are perfectly cooked. They're here cooling on this platter. I did put some toothpicks in because that's how you're going to eat them. You want to garnish with some fresh green onion, the green parts. We use the whites in the sauce. And now I'm going to give them a try. Okay, here we go. That cranberry goes so well with the turkey. To me, it's the best. I will say, we did make these with ground beef. That's John's favorite. He liked it a lot. We tried it with mustard, like I said. Don't put any mustard in. If you can do spicy, add some jalapeno seeds, because that sweetness of the cranberry and the jalapeno spice, they go so well together. Okay, thank you for watching Cooking for Two 101. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you soon.